Hi, Wes, and thanks for having this talk with me. How long have you been working for Neighborhoods?
Since October, so like 6 months or so.
Hmm. And what is your title or role in our team?
I am a primarily developer, so doing Holochain development on the sensemaker, but also applet development, neighborhood launcher development, neighborhood sensemaker client development. So yeah, I guess full stack development for the neighborhoods suite of tooling.
Okay, great. That's a very informative and detailed reply. I appreciate that. Um, how did you end up in this kind of work?
Uh, I guess I'd like to know what you mean by this kind of work before I can
Well, I guess
answer.
software development, but also holochain development.
Well, so I have a university degree in electrical engineering,
Hmm.
and it does involve a bit of programming, which I always enjoyed. That was my first experience with programming was in university, and um, I wanted to keep taking courses that involve more programming. So you could say that like I was quite interested in programming from the beginning, from when I first exposed to it. And kind of since then, I'd always seen myself working with code.
Hmm.
Um, and then with Holochain, I mean, it's a bit of a long story. There is actually a blog post that I had written, so I would just like point people to
Yeah,
that.
maybe we can
Uh,
share that in a caption if
yeah,
it's
yeah,
shareable.
yeah. And the short answer is that I kind of went down a bit of like a podcast rabbit hole,
Wow.
which eventually led me to meeting people that told me about Holochain, and I was reading about it and listened to like some talks by Art and Eric, and
Hmm.
thought it was some really interesting ideas that they were thinking about, and it just felt like a really interesting intersection of software engineering plus some deeper thinking about like social organization and the future of humanity. So that, yeah, that was what attracted me to the holochain specific
All
space.
right.
Yeah.
Cool. Is it possible to describe your favorite thing so far about working for Neighborhoods?
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing about working for neighborhoods, I don't know if I have one favorite thing. I guess I'll try to talk to some things that I
Hmm.
really have enjoyed so far. And
Sure.
first thing is, I mean, the team's incredible. It's a really diverse group of people that are passionate about what they do. So that's like, I mean, there's not too many things out there that I enjoy more than like being surrounded by passionate individuals, especially when we get to work together on the same things.
Hmm.
Um, it's also cool how spread around the world we are. So like no matter where I am, I'll have someone to sync up with regarding neighborhoods. What else? We're trying to be self-organized. So there's not really like a boss telling everyone what to do. We kind of take ownership of different aspects of the project. So that's really nice to have that a bit more agency over my work.
Mm-hmm.
And then more specifically, just like the actual programming and technical work and thinking and system design that I get to participate in is like really engaging and like intellectually satisfying because we're kind of at the forefront of thinking about um, new patterns of applications and like what can some aspects of the future of the web experience be like. And so that's
Right.
just a fun place to be and to think and to explore and experiment with different ideas and patterns.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Wes, you're a bit of a digital nomad at this time, correct? And I know I asked you before we interviewed if there's a place you would prefer to live. Um, could you say a little bit about being a nomad and about like your long-term ideas on lifestyle?
Yeah, so I'm currently in my just about finishing up 4 months of living and traveling in Central America and working at the same time and learning Spanish. And so I see myself doing this while I can, while I have less commitments to any one location, and while I'm young and have the energy. So for the near term, yeah, I would love to keep doing this, and especially in Spanish speaking parts of the world, because I'd love to like gain fluency in another language and be able to like make friends and connections and just experience life in a different language. So Spanish is a good one because there's over 20 countries that speak Spanish. So it's yeah, I get to travel and keep learning the same language at the same time. So that's a nice thing to do at the same time. And then long term, I mean, I love nature. I love being close to rivers and forests and like birds and animals and like fruits and vegetables. So long term, I definitely could see myself living more in like a community type, like intentional community type situation. And it would be great if it was multilingual as well. And so yeah, that's kind of like the longer term thing. I'll probably live in various cities too throughout my life, I would imagine.
Cool. Yeah. This intentional community aspect, that's a kind of interesting tie-in for possible neighborhoods of the future. You know, I mean, not that our digital neighborhoods would encompass all of what that is, but we can support intentional communities through these tools that we're developing. I hope so. Wes, which phone app do you use the most?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I could look at my screen time and tell you the real answer.
Okay, I'd prefer to know which one you think is the answer.
I would say the one that I enjoy spending my time using the most currently is these two apps, and they're both for learning, and they're both basically spaced repetition flashcard applications.
Wow.
So the first one is called Anki, and you just write your own like flashcards, front side, back side, and you the algorithm works in such a way that the space between reviewing increases every time you review it correctly and mark that you knew the answer before you looked at it. So this is a great way to just learn and build memory. I use it for anything, like if I'm reading and I come across interesting information or shortcuts for my computer. Right now I'm using it mostly for Spanish. So like memorizing words and grammar rules, etc. And then the second app is called Fluent Forever, which is another spaced repetition app, but it's focused specifically on language learning. And so it allows you to create flashcards with images and with audio playback of the sentence in Spanish. So both of these apps have been incredibly useful, and I absolutely love learning. So they just add so much value to my life. So yeah, those would be the two that I use quite a bit consistently. I'm not sure if I use them most, but definitely a lot. Yeah.
All right, we might be able to put those up as a caption too. Maybe they can toss some money your way too for this sort of endorsement you've given them, impromptu,
Yeah.
unsolicited, just the natural endorsement that emerged. Um, what's one thing that you own that you should really throw out?
One thing that I own that I should really throw out. Now that's a hard question.
It's optional. Maybe
Yeah.
you don't want to throw anything out.
Yeah, well, I don't know about throw out, but get rid of or donate or gift.
Uh-huh.
Sure,
Okay.
I have a lot of things.
Mhm.
Right now, in my like close proximity, I don't have too much stuff with me because I'm traveling, and I have almost just the essentials. I probably have a few more pieces of clothing than I need. Um, but honestly, probably clothes. Like I think there's probably a bunch of little things, but in terms of like volume and mass, clothes probably make up the most
Right.
amount of belongings that I don't even use.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. That's a very reasonable answer. Would you happen to have a favorite movie?
I definitely do have a favorite movie, and I know you already know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite movie of all times is The Lighthouse. It's a movie that came out in 2019. It's a black and white movie directed by Robert Eggers and starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. And it's a very simple movie, but something about the aesthetics and the humor and the characters and the setting and the
Hmm.
accents, it just is like the perfect movie for my aesthetic tastes. And I've seen it a shameful number of times. Yeah.
Shameful. Uh-huh. Oh boy. Is that is that set in New England or
It's filmed, it's set in New England, the story, but it was actually filmed in Nova Scotia.
that's a common tendency, yes. Hmm. Trying to get that authentic old unspoiled New England look.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I need to see that movie. Hopefully any week now.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any favorite musical genres or styles that you'd like to share?
There's no one specific genre, but typically I listen to instrumental or like music without vocals or lyrics, and that can range from like jazzy hip hop beats, which I love to work to,
Hmm.
um, or like kind of deep jungle house experimental to like spacey vaporwave. I love discovering new music on Spotify while I work. Uh, and anything that I can work to and like feel like I can stay focused to, but it's
Hmm.
uh, at like a high enough tempo that I can feel productive, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. So the you have to have stuff without lyrics so that the words don't distract you, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Hmm. Cool. So, what thing do you think would surprise your coworkers the most about you?
Well, there's probably a better answer, but the first thing that came to my mind uh, is, I guess, my ongoing hobby for filmmaking, videography.
Hmm.
I love to make videos about really anything with friends. So I've made a number of I've made vlogs before. I've made like short documentaries. I've made music videos. I really like making music videos uh,
Oh,
because they're just really fun and flowy. I'm working on a wedding video currently from one of my friends, and I've made a number of short films, like kind of not a documentary, just a short film.
Uh-huh.
And two of those have been like inspired by and attempted to be of the same style as the Lighthouse.
Yeah.
And I'm quite proud of those. So yeah, I would say that might surprise my coworkers, is that aspect.
That was news to me, and I'd love to talk to you about that sometime. That's part of my background too. Yeah.
Nice.
Um, would you like to share a couple of other favorite hobbies with the community?
Yeah, I love camping and hiking and outdoor activities like snowboarding, skiing, kayaking. I mean, really anything outside.
Mm.
Um, and then I also just absolutely love, and this is related to what I was mentioned earlier about how I love learning. And so I would even consider like flashcard creation and studying like a hobby of mine, which is related to a broader hobby, which I would call, and other people call, personal knowledge management,
Mm.
which is just a set of methodologies and practices and tools and approaches to like organizing the knowledge and information that we come across in our day-to-day life, and um, what do we do with it? And this includes writing and note taking as well. And so I like reading, writing, thinking about the world, understanding the world. And part of that also involves listening to a ton of really interesting podcasts, which I'd be happy to share some of my favorite ones somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think we can attach that to this as well. That would be great. Um, what is the best sandwich?
Well, I mean, obviously, food and food preferences are completely subjective. So,
Oh,
it depends for everyone. My personal, like the kind of sandwich that makes me salivate the most,
right.
it would just, I don't know, be like something simple, but really fresh and like whole, healthy ingredients. So homemade
Mm.
bread. I actually really like dark and dense bread. So
Mm.
maybe some kind of German bread.
Yep.
Mayonnaise is almost a required ingredient for me. Mayonnaise, cheese, some kind of mustard, sprouts, tomatoes, and I guess sliced meat of some kind. That would be a delicious sandwich. And the closer I am to where the ingredients are grown, the better.
All right. That was very nearly the correct answer. That was an excellent try. Good job. Um, would you like to share anything with the community regarding this big topic of artificial intelligence, which is so on people's minds in 2023?
Yeah, I could share some thoughts about that. I mean, I I'm not one to try to predict the future or make conclusive comments about how the future will unfold, because obviously we live in multiple complex systems, and so prediction is not even possible. Um, I would say that how I personally feel is like things are moving quickly, and sometimes when I come across something, like earlier today, I saw a tweet, and it was like, oh, I'm using Chat GPT and Auto GPT to manage my finances, and it's made
Right.
me $3,000. And like initially, there's this like fear of, oh my gosh, I'm being left behind. Like I need to keep up to date with all this stuff. And so there's this really strong sense of like overwhelm and scrambling. But then I remember, like, what is more important in life? Is it like getting ahead of other people, or is it like maintaining stable like wellness and mental health. And so I guess, like, certainly I could probably be spending more time in the day trying to stay ahead of the curve of all this new technology, but there's also like a certain rate that I can process new information and adapt and create new habits and use new tools that beyond which it's no longer serving my wellness and my like health and happiness. So yeah, the way I think about it is like, that's my priority is maintaining like health and happiness and stability and clarity and wisdom as well. And I feel sorry for anyone out there that feels like they need to scramble as fast as they possibly can to stay ahead or whatever they think that might be helping with.